Okay, not a bad drive to start off with, but I'm going to tell you how by changing your ball speed and your launch angle, you can hit it a little bit longer and find a few more fairways. Let's get stuck in right now. So that driver there, my ball speed was 153 miles per hour and my launch angle was 4.6 degrees. Not ideal. Ideally, I want to be launching it around 12-13 degrees in the air, and I want to have a ball speed of about 170 miles per hour. If we looked at guys like Bryson DeChambeau, their ball speeds are getting up to near 200 miles an hour, and that is massive distance. But if we can increase ours and get the launch up, we're going to see a little bit more distance. So first things first, how are we going to increase that launch angle? Because 4.6 on a driver that is 9 degrees means that I'm actually taking loft off the driver, and we all know, or hopefully we know, we want to try and hit the driver on the up. First things first, if we look at the actual face on camera from a second ago and we see that swing, my posture and my ball position were pretty bad. So as I addressed that golf ball purposely for the point of the video, I've pegged the golf ball down a little bit. So the ball was actually below the face of my driver, as we can see on the screen there. And then also there wasn't much tilt in my spine, and the ball was actually a couple of inches back from the center, from the lead foot, so it was more towards my center. So when I did hit it, it actually came out low. So what do we need to try and do to change it? Like I say, we're looking for about 12 to 13 to 14 degrees on my launch angle. Well, number one, if I'm going to be hitting it more on the up, I want to see that my ball is pegged up the appropriate height. So if we're getting close here, and I put the club behind the golf ball here now, what we had a moment ago was something where the ball was down here, and we see it below the face of the driver. Now I'm going to pop it up here, so we actually see a little bit of the golf ball above the top line of my driver, because as I'm coming through, I'm trying to hit up on it as I'm going through. So then, what do I do in terms of my setup? Well, we saw that at the start I was very neutral as I stood to it. My spine angle here had no tilt in it, and also my ball position was pretty central. So what I'm going to do now is make sure that I get the ball further forwards and I get a little bit of tilt. So as I place the club in, I'm now going to see that this ball is aligned to my big toe on my lead foot. I'll flare the foot slightly, so I'd line it, then flare it, and then I place the club in. From there I get my good stance and keep it in that position, and see that I would now tilt my spine a little bit more as I'm going through here, so we get this little bit of tilt instead of having it in the central with no tilt. That is going to help me already hit up on it. Then one other thing, I want you to try and do this at home for me if you can. If you've got an alignment cane, if you're at a driving range or a practice ground or whatever, we're going to take the alignment cane and we're actually going to angle it into the ground here. So off ball we've got a few inches of cane, and this is sort of stuck in at about a 12 or 13 degree angle there. And what I'm going to try and do, I'm just going to take my ball off the tee. As I'm having some practice swings now, I want to imagine as I'm coming down, my driver head is following the angle of this cane here. So as I'd come through and my driver's just the top of the driver here, just below, I would just bruise that tee peg and then it would go up. So it's almost like the driver's taking off into the golf ball, instead of what I had there almost was it coming down into the golf ball a little bit more. So I would get my good setup, get a good position here, and then feel that I follow the cane up through the shot and into my follow through as I'm going through it. If I can do that, hopefully with this one now, we're going to see a little bit more of a higher launch angle. So let's give that a go. We had 4.6 as the first one. I've changed my ball position to off the lead foot. I've got a good tilt in the spine, and I'm going to feel that I'm following the cane through impact to see that I get a higher launch angle. Okay, not bad. I've actually gone up to 13.3 degrees there. My ball speed is still down at 153 though. And the reason for that, I've hit it a little bit too much out of the toe. Hence why that one was a bit slicey. The face opened and it's gone out there. So I've got another To be fair, I've gone up 33 yards in distance because I've managed to launch it an extra 9 degrees up in the air, but I now need to get my ball speed up. And how are we going to do that? Well, I'm going to find the centre of the golf club a little bit more. And how are we going to do that? Well, it's pretty simple really. A, we need a little bit of hand-eye coordination to get it done. We need to actually practice hitting the ball out and trying to find that middle. But then secondly, I need to make sure that as I'm swinging, I'm in a balanced manner, because what I did for myself then a little bit in the start of my address, I leant back into my heels, so I knew I would lose my balance as I go through. So as I stand to this golf ball now, I'm going to make sure, A, as I line this ball up, I'm going to make sure it's actually flush out of the centre of the driver. So I would stand in here, get my good posture, and now feel that as I'm stood to it, that golf ball is lined up slap bang in the centre. Don't be too blasé, maybe a toe, maybe a bit of a heel. It's somewhere near the centre. Be very, very poignant, as it were, about where that ball should be. Make sure it is definitely in the middle. Then as I stand to it, I now want to feel that I've got a solid base here and I'm planted. I'm not feeling that I'm rocking in my toes or heels as I stand to it. From there then, as I'm coming through, I want to feel that I'm hitting more through the golf ball, through and up, instead of across it or out too much. If I get across either way, I'm going to be glancing. So I've got to feel that I've got good balance, I'm hitting through the golf ball. And then third and finally, I want you to imagine the back of your lead hand. I don't want to have this glancing motion. I want to feel that as I hit it, the back of my lead hand now is looking down towards my target. So I'm squaring the club up and getting it right out of the centre. If we get this, I combine a good launch angle, I combine a good ball speed, I'm going to hit it further and I'm going to find the fairway. So get my club set dead out of the middle, get my good position, find that balance set up, and then from there through and up into the golf ball, square that face up, and it should be a pretty good shot. Beautiful. And what have we got there? Excellent. So launch angle 11.5, ball speed 160 miles an hour for a total of 272, slap bang down the middle of the fairway. Two simple things to try and find a little bit more distance and a few more fairways with your driver. That's what we want to be doing. Take those tips, guys, pass them around, share them with your friends who are struggling with the driver, and hopefully you'll see more improvement. Thanks for watching this lesson, and I'll see you in your next one.